Welcome to AITV Starship.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Cool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn, laugh, innovation. AITV Star, human amplified. Catch the spark, ride the wave. Future's on our side. We got experts talking truth in the stream. Dreaming bigger, living stronger, building the dream. From therapy bots to AGI talk. We ask the hard questions while we walk the walk.
We're back again live, baby.
Yeah, we are. You know it. Man, we've got all kinds of stuff going on. There's so much news. I don't even know where to start. Wow. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get started on what we know. So what's happening this week?
It is never a dull moment in the AI world. And I think we have to start out with Anthropic and the fact that they have released a model. They have a model so powerful that they won't release it. Mythos preview, it found thousands of zero-day exploits in every major operating system and web browser. $50 to find a 27-year-old bug in OpenBSD, one of the most secure hardened operating systems that was ever built. And under $1,000 to find and build a fully functional remote code execution exploit on FreeBSD that grants unauthenticated root access from anywhere on the internet.
Holy cow.
When it comes to that, so I found a clip that here of them talking about Project Glasswing, which is an urgent initiative to help secure the world's most critical infrastructure, because the world, to be frank, is not ready for this. We're not ready for AI that can comb through and break this encryption model.
Yeah, so it not only, so it literally is we are way past where we should be, and we're not prepared. So it basically has the ability to decrypt, encrypt, and invade everything that we've got out there. So they gave it to about 44 different companies. No countries, just the U.S., right? And Europe, I think they've shared it with them as well. So they're basically using it to harden up all of the security risks across the planet. So it's basically right now going in the background and doing this. Now, there's two kind of things to think about here. One is they're not releasing it to us, although it did make it out into the which one escaped? One of them escaped, and they made it open, so people are downloading it in GitHub. What the hell?
Yeah, their source code. Well, yeah, the source code for the wrapper of Anthropic's Claude Code or Claude work got leaked in a buried repository, and within minutes it was everywhere. And somebody took it and rewrote it in Python to get around copyright. So it's out there, baby. Like, you can't take that away now.
Oh man, that's just beyond. Okay, so
I've got a segment here from Dario Amade that I think is really I'm really keen to play, because it really talks about where their heads are at with this. Because remember, this is supposed to be the ethical company, right?
Yes.
The one that protects your data.
Yeah, well, and they are, and they still are, but like here, in fact, the fact that they did not come out with it, although they could, kind of says something really strong, I do believe. I don't think they expected it to get here this fast. I've been listening to Demis Hassabis all weekend long, him talking about this and other things, is that nobody expected any of this to happen as fast as it's happening, because we basically got the unlock code for now, the cheat code for the planet. So let's listen to Dario and what he has to say about it.
There's a kind of accelerating exponential, but along that exponential, there are points of significance. Claude Mythos preview is a particularly big jump along that point. We haven't trained it specifically to be good at cyber. We trained it to be good at code, but as a side effect of being good at code, it's also good at cyber.
The model that we're experimenting with is by and large as good as a professional human at identifying bugs. It's good for us because we can find more vulnerabilities sooner and we can fix them.
It has the ability to chain together vulnerabilities. So what this means is you find two vulnerabilities, either of which doesn't really get you very much independently.
Okay. Are you there, sir? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So somehow I think I took over
You notice
the
this
screen
model
there.
is very autonomous.
Oh, there we go.
It's just generally better at pursuing really long-range tasks that are kind of like the tasks that a human security researcher would do throughout the course of an entire day. Obviously, capabilities in a model like this could do harm if in the wrong hands. And so we won't be releasing this model widely. More powerful models are going to come from us and from others. And so we do need a plan to respond to this. That's why we're launching what we're calling Project Glasswing, where
And it goes on, but
Yeah.
you know, I think they are trying to be responsible with it, but the point is we're there. We're at the point where science fiction is going to start becoming documentary.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is it's self-recursively improving itself. So you have agents which basically give you multiple experts that can task doing something, usually orchestrated by Claude. And in fact, Anthropic has been, even for Perplexity, which you and I are using, Perplexity's $200 a month plan. It's a conductor for an orchestra. So then you've got all the little chatbots. We even have brand new stuff coming out, which is on-device large language models from ChatGPT. So I actually put that on my phone, and you basically have ChatGPT answering questions, looking at pictures, analyzing, not quite generating pictures yet, not quite doing stuff that I found that exciting, but then you can put 20 of these to work. So here's what's the big picture we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to be showing you some projects I'm working on, Abracadabra, which we talked a little bit about before, and then Life Force One, and then the big one that I'm working on is Upskill USA. Finally has, in fact, I was at Career Source Broward today, and I'm also in talks with Henry Mack, who was the Chancellor of Education for the state of Florida, is now Assistant Secretary of Labor for the United States government, baby. And I used to work with him because he worked at Broward College back in the day, and I worked with him to get a new media program launched, and also BCEX, which was a program he initiated, which basically was for entrepreneurship as being the new paradigm for educators, to think about every class having an entrepreneurship possibility, which, gets us to this bigger picture, if you want to think about it. Artificial intelligence is making it so that our old way of thinking about what work was, where you got defined by your job, you have tasks and streams that you do, to having the AI agents doing these tiny little things and orchestrating some of it to completion, especially for code and that kind of stuff. But then you're the human in the loop who says, like Steven Spielberg, and this is still my favorite way to think about this, is that you're conducting a movie. So you have now an editor for video, you've got editors for still pictures, for storyline telling. And so we're using Perplexity to agentically go in there and take these little things. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate tonight my Copa Joe, which is the greatest show on earth episode. And I'm going to walk you through not only how I got Claude to organize all my structured files on my desktop, but on top of that, did all kinds of other stuff. So anyway, we're going to get there in a minute. I'm going to be going all over the place, so strap in. So unfortunately, tonight we didn't really plan our program, but I just ran literally.
Wait, Rick, we've got to be we've always been transparent with our audience.
Okay.
You planned a heck of an episode. Producer Brandon got distracted by the little tidbits running around here this week in spring break, and did not do the producing of the things that we were supposed to do. So I
That's
will,
all right.
will fall on that sword. So
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, no, but what's really interesting is what I did do is what you see here on screen. So let me see if I can actually take control of it. So other news. So I literally ran our Perplexity engine that we set up. Remember the one we did? So if you were in the last episodes, I'll show you right after I go through the slides because I haven't seen these yet. But literally 5 minutes ago, I hit go and it produced the slide deck, put it in a PowerPoint presentation. In fact, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to take a look at the under the hood here in a minute. So let's take a look at what other kind of things that are out there. So this is literally, I can't even, now can you see the notes now? What do you see? Or you see just the...
I'm seeing nothing because their screen share stopped sharing.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and share screen. Okay, I'm going to do the entire.
By the way, while you're waiting for that, I don't know if you saw this, but Google researchers just discovered that AI models are developing multiple personalities inside their own minds, and they are whether to solve problems. This is not something that they programmed; it emerged on its own, and they just published that work in Science, the most prestigious journal on Earth.
Okay.
Now we can see the show notes here.
Okay. So what I wanted to do is I just the last minute, literally I went in there and I ran what is our script in
and see, even
in
with
Perplexity.
no preparation. I mean, you know we're transparent on this show. We're showing you with 5 minutes of preparing and the power of Perplexity Computer. This is what we come up with. I mean, Rick, it looks like you spent weeks on this presentation.
Oh, I know, right? So, yeah. So here's HeyGen launches an Avatar V to capture your identity. Now, what I'm showing you here,
I believe that's Avatar 5.
Avatar 5. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, because you got that Roman numeral thing going on there. What's cool about this, and this is really back end, right? And we do want to show you the back end because this is kind of extraordinary. So I'll show you real quickly. I'm going to go on over to Perplexity Computer. So this is what I did. This is my front end. So so you take a look. Here's full real deal is what we're doing. So this is Perplexity Computer. And this is our application that we created. And when I open it up, this is literally what I did. I go over to the side. Here are the stories. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so you can see it, right? So I hit refresh stories. So then it went out and it found information, big news. So here it is, Superintelligence Labs first model. Anthropic loses bid for the Pentagon supply chain risk designation. Alibaba quietly releases Happy Horse 1.0. And then Claude launches managed agents, right? So then I go to health. And that's our 4 pillars are big news, health, outrageous, crazy, fun stuff, and education. We're going to change that a little bit, but let me say that I picked these guys, right? So then I hit outrageous, and this is like Factory AI launches desktop app for multi-agent droids. CapCut rolls out Dreamia Seedance 2. So Seedance 2 is in the wild, folks. So go enjoy the heck out of that. And then education. What do we got? OpenAI proposes AI taxes and worker benefits plan for superintelligence era. That's a cool story. In fact, I'm kind of curious on that. So here's what I do. I then pick these stories, which I just hit the refresh. So this is as of today. And then it's generating the script. Look how fast it does this. Okay, so here it goes. Hey, Brandon, what's up, everybody? Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm Brandon, and with me, as always, is the only Rick McCauley. Okay, so it does that. It then puts it, and I say, now generate all of the images, right? And it's going to generate 23 images. And then when it's done, guess what I got? What I just showed you here, this, okay? So this is a PowerPoint presentation. I'm showing you, just like straight up. This is what I got just 5 seconds ago. I'm not joking, 5 seconds ago. So we could go in there and read this, or in fact, in the future, I think we should just get our new HeyGen personalities that are a lot more fun and prepared than I am today to come in here and talk about Florida launching investigation OpenAI. Of course it's in Florida, right? OpenAI's January security risk or political theater. Rick, it's the heat in OpenAI's genuine security issue or political theater is what it's saying. So the Florida Attorney General, James Utenmeyer, launches an investigation into OpenAI public safety and national security risks, citing concerns over data falling into hostile hands. Impact, Florida launches. Okay. So whether or not it could end up in hostile hands, I don't even know what the heck that's about. I'm not going to bother with that because that's just dumb. But that's the state of Florida for you. Florida, duh. That's all I got to say. Florida, duh. The gig worker who's training humanoid robots. Oh, this is the latest thing you can do. You can literally sign up for being a trainer of AI. And this includes attorneys, medical doctors. So both Anthropic and Microsoft and other companies are now having someone who does, I don't know, folds clothes. You go in and you become the trainer for the AI. So they've been doing this without permission before. So if you worked in a factory or worked for Amazon, they basically recorded everything you did, screen grabbed you, and guess what? That's what trained all the Amazons that replaced you, robots. So there's 1.2 million of those already out there. If you take a look at the automated systems within Tesla, same thing. So in Tesla's capability, so now they're terrafabbing their own AI chip project with SpaceX and Tesla and robots and data centers. And we got Artemis in outer space. Thank you, Elon, I guess. You racist son of a gun. So that's interesting. So we're at this really interesting nexus point where we're training our replacements. Literally, you can hire yourself out to be a trainer for your replacement. So no matter what job your is, including lawyers and doctors. So surgeries, doctors who are heart surgeons are being used with the rigs you're looking at on this woman here, more or less. If you watch 60 Minutes about 3 episodes ago, take a look for the one where the robotic is taking over the car manufacturing. And basically the guy on 60 Minutes starts dancing a jig, and then the robot knows how to do it. So you basically do the task, like folding clothes, for example, and then it knows how to do it. And then it goes into a pit where it trains 5,000 times on the same task to add efficiency. So this is self-improvement on a physical side, and it has the same dexterity, in fact, a lot better dexterity than you and I have. So then it can go in there and do this kind of stuff. So that's kind of where we are. And this Avatar 5 in 15 seconds, literally it captures everything about your performance in 15 seconds, including your voice, your expressions. So they have this little test thing that you read, and then you have to verify that you are who you are before you can use it. But now they're starting to get it to where it's long form content that they're doing as well. So God knows what's next. So this is kind of like
and consistency across the different platforms and and building in different ways. And if we want to take a look, there is a short explainer video that I can call up here that shows them demoing this.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm downloading the 23 stories that it just made a whole new deck for. As you saw, it just got through about 8 slides before it kind of crapped out. So, but this is our work process right now. Is we go to AITV Starship and we do this, and then I'm going to show you some other ones when we get back. I'm going to join you back in the studio here. Take a look at what you got going on. Did you have something you want to share, Brandon?
Yeah. So let me go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got. Get my screen share going here. And here is what that looks like with audio.
Avatar. 15 seconds of
it would help if I shared it, actually.
Watch and again, because that's how they lead.
There we go.
The person talking to you right now is an AI avatar. 15 seconds of footage, that's all it took. Watch what it does with that. This is for the people who show up on camera again and again, because that's how they lead, sell, teach. Most other
That's what I'm
models,
talking about.
they don't truly preserve who you are. They fill missing details with hallucinations. And over time, the avatar drifts. And by video 10, it looks more like your cousin than you. Avatar 5 learns directly from your reference video. Every frame, every movement. It doesn't just read your face, it watches how you move, your rhythm, your expressions. In blind evaluations, Avatar 5 is rated #1 for real human talking videos. 1/10 of the cost, 10 times the generation length, 0 identity drift. You can one-shot an entire 10-minute script and walk away. If your face
Crap.
is your brand, if personalized video is how you sell, if you or your team needs content at scale, this was built for you. Avatar 5, one recording. Any outfit, any setting, anywhere. Your identity, consistent,
Oh, crap.
prominent, everywhere it needs to be. Available now in HeyGen.
My God. Okay, so now here's the next thing we got to do. I have a subscription to HeyGen. I've been paying $30 a month. I have not used it. I'm dead serious. Okay, so here's what's going to happen in the future, and I swear we're going to try to do this by next week. I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to take the script that you just saw that was generated by the thing, and I'm downloading the next version of it, right? And we're going to then give that to HeyGen to have both of our avatars, and we're going to be much better looking because I'm going to get a makeup artist and I'm going to do the whole hat and everything. So I'm going to do one, since you could do 5 of these. Oh, Suno has the same capability, by the way. In fact, maybe we should do that tonight for our tool time. It's just, I'll clone my voice and I'll sing some music and see what we could do. Okay. So yeah, we're there. Oh my God. So let me keep on going. I'll share a couple of more things. So the different document kind of things we got going on right now. So just last week,
And just so you know, Rick,
yeah,
just to give you a heads up, behind the scenes note here. I do have, whether we use it or not tonight, I do have an AI edited version of your first montage of agent workflow in the circus. I still think I would love to see you talking about some of that and showing your process live, but I do have a 30-minute mission tools segment carved out of that based on AI recommendations.
Okay.
So
okay,
if you want to, whenever you want to pivot to that, if you want to do that now, I can cue that up. If you want to do, talk about and kind of set the stage a little bit, because it's going to jump around a little bit, because it was 2.5 hours of your office hours from Saturday that we've compressed into 30 action-packed minutes. So I think if you set the stage a little bit for that, we can then cue that up.
Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of things here. So I'm going to first talk about abracadabra, and so I'm gonna jump all over the place. So here's what I'm going to do. So you got your brain, so you can hold on to something in your head, right? Number one, I'm starting in Manus. So this is Manus, and actually, you know what? Let me hide this for a second. Let me start somewhere else a little weird here. And that is using Claude on the desktop. I'm gonna do the full swing here. I'm gonna go for the fences here. This is gonna be fun. Give me just a second to launch Claude. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's Claude.
And by the way, while you're recombobulating and resetting, did you see 4 days ago my last news item? An admission from Mark Zuckerberg.
Yep.
Social media started out primarily as people primarily interacting with their friends, and now at least half of the content is basically people interacting with strangers and creators. And that is a stark omission from the person who brought us the original social networks.
Yeah, that asshole. Sorry, I just can't. Right? I can't. Okay, so what's kind of what's kind of cool about this? Okay, so where I start, this is my new process, right? So you've got Claude, which is a desktop application. So I got a new version here going on, and I ask questions and do stuff here. So this is some of my writing. This is the circus project, and here is the content of what I've asked about it doing for me. And this is the counterfeit clown. So I can show you this kind of overall thing. So here is acrobat, and here's so here is the counterfeit clown. Maybe I'll start there. Okay. So this is basically 4 acts. It's called The Counterfeit Clown originally. It's now going to be called The Greatest Show on Earth. So I basically created this play, and it's turning into a whole bunch of other stuff. For every man who sold his soul for grease paint and discovered the devil kept the receipt. For every clown who had a heart all along, but needed a little girl to show him where it was. For America at 250 years, now take off the paint. So basically, this is the idea of the show, the musical video, the everything that I'm going to show you in just a second. And maybe this is where we do bring on the clowns, literally. Hang on just a second. I'm going to show you. So this is what it looks like in Grok. I know. Okay, let me start over again. What I did first is I went into the folder, which had over 5,000 different documents. So some of them are like this document I'm showing you right now. This is the intro and the beginning of the show. And
welcome to the greatest show on earth.
Can you hear that okay?
Let me yeah, it was perfect. So let me just take a step back for those who may not be familiar with this process, and because you've been sending me these clips and my jaw just drops further and further as you channel your inner Steven Spielberg, because that's really
That's
what
right.
we're coming down to, is the point that if you can think it, you can create it with enough credit.
Oh, yeah.
So walk us through the inspiration for this experience, this multimedia experience. Where is this?
And that's
is this really
that's actually
more
accurate.
of a what's the word I'm looking for? A mirror of America at 250, or is this really
Yes.
more of the tale of Ringling Brothers, or both? Because
it's
Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey were not, the Greatest Showman was a great movie, but it glamorized a lot of the dirty little parts of the process of how the sausage was made, of how the circus came to be.
Okay, so basically, America is full of a bunch of self-domesticated apes. That's my thesis to start with, and what that means is World War II happens. In fact, let me introduce you to the character. In fact, I'm going to walk you through the film itself. The film starts with Copa Joe. He's 5 years old. And he is an entertainer.
Looks like Noah circa 1920s.
Right. Okay, so the story starts.
And these were all done in Grok, by the way. These videos were all done in Grok video, yeah.
And actually, it's really interesting because I've started this process. So I have a tendency to take my entire story of the American dream, basically. George Carlin talked about when one of his last interviews, he says, "I've had a front row seat to the greatest show on earth." That's what started me. The greatest show on earth is the circus of America. And he told us truth to exactly who we were. We buy bigger houses to put our stuff into. We get more stuff to buy bigger houses. The whole genre of what he was saying. He was talking about an indictment of the American empire, the extractive economy, and all the things I've been talking about and angry about as the angry man, right? So I thought, what a metaphorical way that I could tell this story. So it starts with thinking about if you were given absolute fame, and I use Andy Warhol's idea of fame, right? Everybody's going to be given 15 minutes of fame. What did Andy Warhol do as an artist? He also said that art is fart. Basically, it's worthless because it can be mass produced. So you have this shift in artistic. So this is the big philosophy behind it. So I'm going to go really deep. For you philosophy majors out here, this is fucking next level. I swear to you, this will be a Pulitzer Prize winning project.
And before you go down the rabbit hole too far, I gotta ask: is this Grok video, or is this actually a video of you as a kid? Because that hat that kid is wearing looks almost identical to the hat that you wear as the Dangerous Man. I'm just putting it out there. I see the resemblance.
There you go. Yeah. So if you look back at us in 1945, so the name came from a mistranslation by Grok. So with Claude. So I sit down with Claude and I write this entire idea. And the idea is simply this: America in 1945, which is where this starts. This is when he's born. So he's a 5-year-old kid, post-war, and all of a sudden everything is possible, right? It's the greatest generation in America. That's actually the title for, America at that time. And the baby boomers that were born of it, had a car in the garage. They had an opportunity to put women into the workforce because they were Rosie the Riveter. Remember, women were powerful, right? When the men were out fighting the war. And then my uncle. So I looked up one time. I said, why did they call it a cup of Joe? Can you get me a cup of Joe? And that's what I actually said to Claude. I said, it started with me thinking about my uncle going over at age 21. He was at Harvard University. I know I've told the story before, but I think it bears repeating here because it inspired my entire concept here. So he goes over to war and he's on a troop ship with thousands of other men, and he's going to his death, unfortunately. And he died. And he was the eldest of 14 children. 3 were lost at childbirth. I won't go into, but my grandmother sacrificed her eldest son. I mean, he's a beautiful young man too. And I'll show you pictures of him in a bit. So I thought first, what was America and what went wrong? How did we get here? How did we come up at the end of the empire? In 250 years, if you didn't know about the Roman Empire and all the other empires, is basically the death knell. And we're in the death rattle. When we look at what Trump is doing, he's invading other countries and he's distracting from what is an economic collapse based on the monetary system of the dollar. So it's not the gold standard. So there is Wizard of Oz in here and the gold standard. Look that up. That's really interesting. The Wizard of Oz is the magic guy behind the curtain who happens to be the head of the circus, metaphorically speaking here. I mean, this is Nobel Prize winning shit right here. And I'm being modest because I'm fucking telling you it is. So it will be winning a Nobel Prize. So I'm going to get the EGOT thing or whatever that is, right? So what the Cup of Joe came from was there was too many people on board the boat. So you just used the word generically, Joe. Can you get me a cup of Joe, meaning coffee? And so that became a thing because you didn't want to know people that you were about to go fight a war with because then you get personalized with them. So Cup of Joe was an anonymous way to, realize the situation and the sacrifice you're about to make. All right. So then it thought I said Cup of Joe. I said Cup of Joe. It thought I said Copa Joe. So Copacabana, and you'll see a character named Lola in a minute. All puts together. So Lola at the Copacabana, yes, that song. And then you tie that together with George Carlin and all this kind of stuff. So let me go a little bit further and show you. So basically, this is the kid who had all the possibilities. And so what does he dream to do? To go run off with the circus. All right. So he goes off to the circus and he becomes the greatest on earth.
His hat got considerably smaller.
So that is from still image created by Notebook LM, just to give you an idea. So
Which
basically,
is now baked into Gemini, by the way. We just got to throw that up there. You saw that.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's baked in. It also has some new things that it kind of does. And so I basically started the process, and let me go down so I'm following the story as you kind of see it. So Copa Joe makes a deal.
Wait, scroll up just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm guessing the water skating shark It has nothing to do with the storyline.
Yeah, I was just playing around just to show you what the capabilities are here. So here's literally what I do, right? So I go and and this one is really spectacular. You got to see this one. This is just for Easter. So that should kind of freak you out. So what I was doing there is I'm studying Jesus's life. What's the real story? There's a bunch of evidence that came out that the Bible, the way it was told and everything, isn't what it is. I did a whole thing about Carl Jung and the finding of, what is Jesus in the terms. He was a self-actualized person. In fact, he is the original dangerous man. I come to find out just today, he is the original dangerous man. All right, so let me back up and let me get the storyline kind of going here. So basically, he joins the circus, and this guy promises him everything. So this is the devil, and he signs a contract, a bargain for the souls of all men. He signs the papers. The dog is the people spinning around in his circus. So the circus guy comes and approaches our Copa Joe, because he performed in front of the circus, right? So he's a kid, and then he joins the circus, and he enters into this very strange relationship with the 7 deadly sins. So this is America. You get seduced by fame. You get your 15 minutes of fame. And what you're about to see is the 7 deadly sins. And here's a short version of it. So this was a still image that was created because I then fed it into. Okay, so step number 2. The first thing that he has is he falls in love with Lola. And Lola is on the top of the, she's a high wire actress, right? So she is up in the sky, and let me find you a way to take a look at this. Here we go. Oh, I don't have the one that has her actually coming down and dancing. So basically, he falls in love.
If we go back to that shot for a second, the one with her on the high wire, any of them with her on the high wire.
Yeah.
I know because of the show that we're doing that this is AI. I'm still holding my breath for this girl that I don't want her to fall.
That's the idea, right? I mean, that's where we are. I literally am Steven Spielberg. And so let me try to get to the point where it'll make sense here in a minute, because so the high wire act, there's 3 different ones, and I'm trying to make sure I got the right one here. So you can do 10 seconds at a time by basically uploading a picture over here on the right. This is not the one still. Shoot. Oh, this is the original one before I got the correct one. So basically, he falls in lust with Lola. It doesn't work out so good. So he ends up, she marries the strong man. Here's the strong man. And he lives in a house of mirrors. Here's the strong man being seduced by the serpent woman. So each one of them is the seven deadly sins. And this is his wife. Not spoiler alert, but I know this is all over the place. I promise I'll get back to this. So basically, he ends up performing as a clown at the wedding for the woman that he loved.
Oh, the love I can't have.
A
giraffe for the happy couple.
Acting.
Why can't it be me? Me a king.
So the basic idea is you have everything in the world. You're the greatest show on earth. You're also the greatest clown of all time. And over his lifetime, he gets to age, 40 years in, he gets a gold watch, basically. He goes through the 7 deadly sins, and the 7 deadly sins is represented by each of the people within the circus. I'm going to show you just some of the most outrageous ones here, just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like. So you got introduced to this guy, and so he is the devil. He's greed. So he's greed, and what happens to greed is that you basically sign your life away to get what's promised to you. So you sign your life to the devil. This is supposed to be Mark Zuckerberg, by the way. See if you see a resemblance. I'm not quite sure I got quite there yet. And it zooms in. So this is the beginning.
I bought you for the cost of peanuts, sold you for retail, pay me the rent.
So that line is basically the guy that was greed, that represents greed in this film, basically just bought you, and now you're a famous circus. So he promised fame and fortune. Okay. So that's the entryway, the seduction to what happened to every American. We wanted a pot and everything. We wanted 2 cars. We wanted a beautiful wife that we could tell what to do. We wanted kids that obeyed our orders. We had the nuclear family, right? And so you sold your soul to the devil, to the circus, to go out in life, right? And so that's what that represents. And what he says in the actual final film, and there's narration too, done by Suno. Now that I figured out how to do that, that's another thing I'm going to show you in a minute. All right, so that's kind of cool. So the idea is that he literally, for the cost of peanuts, he offered this clown fame and fortune, all he could eat at the buffet of the greatest show on earth, in exchange for basically selling his soul. So now this guy gets filthy rich, which is all American businesses pretty much, greed represented, and he's selling him back. He's paying rent for the place that he has on board the circus. So he's selling his soul for retail costs and selling back to him at pennies. At the cost of an elephant's peanuts, he basically bought this guy, Copa Joe. So he's 17 years old, and then he falls in love with this woman. All right, so then he goes in, he after he does that, he sold his soul. You can see there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's popping up here too with my feed, because I was working on other projects.
I got a question for you while you're queuing up the next video. Walk me through your process as you're doing this. Is this story already written in your head and you're just matching the visuals to it, or are you allowing the generative art that's coming out of Grok to carry the storyline? Like it's
entirely great question. It's entirely Claude writing the entire thing. So I literally have a Claude doing the whole thing. So then I take Claude's notes. So here's all the information. So if we take a look at the definitive guide, the PDF, let me see if it actually takes me to it. But this is the entire thing. So this is the entire everything written about it, right? So
you're taking your ideas and
Right.
introducing them to Claude. Here's the concept. Claude, you write it. Grok, you generate it. So you really are the director in this. That you're.
I am, and it goes much deeper
delegating.
than that. That's it, right? So the prelude, what the greatest show on earth was, and what it became. Before the clown, before the cage, before the tin watch and the cracking paint, and the child's scream that brought it all down, there was an elephant. An elephant remembered everything. The elephant remembered Rome. She remembered the Colosseums. This is literally hundreds of hours of just kind of like boring stuff. And then what I did, basically, sources for the multidisciplinary project called The Counterfeit Clown, an American saga exploring the lives of Joseph Copa Joe Cipriani through the various creative formats.
I want to call out an important distinction here. You said Claude was writing this, but you're using
I wrote
them here as a writing. Well, yeah, I'm saying you're working with Claude to generate
an entire
work.
This right here is an actual PDF that has everything in it. There's 12 PDFs. In fact, maybe I should go there, because that's really the
but what I'm saying is I'm calling out the fact that you're using after Claude and you co-author this work, you're using
Yes.
Notebook LM to synthesize all of the data and extract information out of it. Yeah.
Right. So here is literally, there's a novel, musical, and film. So this is it. Written by Rick McCauley, multidisciplinary educator, blah, blah, blah. Edited structural partnership and stewardship into existence by Claude Anthropic, Machine of Love and Grace. I usually have it called it out differently. The only thing we ever had that was value was time and love. So this is my time and love idea. There's no place like home, Dorothy Gale from Wizard of Oz. And then I was just sitting there watching the circus from the front row and reporting, and everyone thought it was funny. So this is basically a 26-page document that I wrote over. This document is signed in blood, sweat, and tears, all mine, 66 years of them. So then it goes into this introduction for America, happy 250, for every clown who had a heart all along but needed a little girl to show him where it was. So this is my life. I was guilty of every 7 So here's the chapters and verse. So I wrote this entirely first. So each one of the people, you can see Lola Devereaux, she is Lola of the tightrope. Magnus the Magnificent, the strong man. He's got no brain, right? Sound familiar? Aurelius Gold he's the owner of the circus. He's also the gold standard of the United States, which was, if you look at a Wizard of Oz, you should look at this. The gold and the silver standard was the standard of the time. And the United States government switched off of the gold standard. This is my political science degree coming into good use, right? To the dollar. Why are we on the dollar in the planet today? Because we owe.
I know. Wait, Rick. I know this.
Okay.
I know this.
Okay.
We had to come off the gold standard because they used all the gold bricks for the yellow brick road.
Yeah, there you go. And the tin paint caused severe damage to the Tin Men. I hate to say that, but that's true.
Yeah.
So each one of these, and Serpentina is the truth, a weaponized truth. So each one of them represents, and Rosie is a little person in the circus who he impregnates because he can't get Lola, so he ends up having sex with her, and then they have a baby. That's going to come in later. Caesar's the cowardly lion. You'll see that. Little Rosie is his daughter that comes back to the circus at the end. Again, not to steal everything. So this is basically entirely written, and it's 16 chapters. Okay, so first I did that, and here's all of it. So, and then here's the beginning of it. And so what's cool about this is this then became, as did other documents. So first of all, I want to show you that here is all of the stuff that I've ever done right here. You can see here's Lola and Lust. Oh, this is the way to show it right here, right? So let me see if I can get the best one here. Oh, this is it. There we go.
You're by the way, your desktop is giving me anxiety with the amount of icons.
Oh, I know, right? Sorry about that. So that's not the one. Here we go. Oh, this is the one. Now watch this with this magic dust coming off her feet. And this is his dream sequence. So he's imagining, and then the rest of the dream sequence goes on to him actually. You can see the grease paint and everything. So basically, I generated images first in Notebook LM just based upon making a screen capture for each page. Oh, here's the one. Now she's going to come down. And then the kiss. And then, come on, the dance. Come on, the dance. Watch this. And they do the tango. So that's 4 iterations using Grok, starting the still image. So here is, this is the strong man. You saw him earlier having an affair. And he witnesses his future wife, sees them having an affair, gets upset about it. Okay, so she's jealousy. Then you have Mr. Greed. And so here's Mr. Greed doing what you saw earlier. And what you're about to see, this is the song I wrote about that.
neon. Everybody smiling like it's gone last. Perfume pills and a curated little lie. Anything at all to keep from asking why. They buy you by the ounce, grace by the gram, salvation in a slogan, God inside a brand. They want a softer mirror, a kind of light, something they can worship for a single night. So I polish up the promise, make it shine. Wrap the fear in velvet, sell it back as design. People will pay anything to forget they are dying. My job is to set the price.
Yeah, baby.
I sell a little silence for the sirens in their head.
Oh, yeah.
A little gold leaf over sacrifice. People will pay anything to pretend time is lying, to dream that loss can be revised. They hand me all their hunger with their trembling little hands. My job is to set the price.
So that's basically Mr. Aurelius, greed. So pride, greed, gluttony. This is Big Benny Kolowski. So let me show you Big Benny Kolowski. Here we go. I'm going to try to go full screen so you can see this for real. And notice it says the emptiness on there. And then this is the strong man. This is the clown. And this is the clown in old age imagining his future. And then wait for it. Oh, and there's a part, I think this is the one. Oh, this is another greed.
Yeah.
Gluttony.
Benny needs the full screen.
Right. So you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner, Notebook LM. And he probably has a heart attack right after that. Then you have Serpentina. Now, she is basically, the short version is, she's Wrath. And so she has, these are the JPEGs, right? So you can kind of see, this is what I take over to this was created in Notebook LM. In fact, you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, you still have the Notebook LM there, right? So these are the images. So I'll feed one at a time in. I'll clean them up sometimes. So you saw this picture, and then you see this picture, and you see this picture. So these are all Notebook LM generated images based upon me picking the style.
When you're saying Notebook LM generated, walk us through that process, because I know Notebook LM as a resource for audio overviews that sound like NPR.
Right.
And tell me what you're doing in terms of the video generation.
So
or the image generation.
So I'm doing the image generation. So I basically say, and here's the prompt. So here's Notebook LM. This is my kind of deck right here. To show you the prompt, basically says, give me a full screen, one of each chapter filled with the dark black and white grainy, always fog full of white angle shots, all the characters present in each scene, one per chapter. This is a film still designed by Fritz Lang and dark magic of Moulin Rouge, opulence in detail, and the circus is the thing. The people's expressions and raw emotions are present in the best acting ever. No text, nothing, full screen movie, cinematic, photographic quality. Okay. So that's
you're giving Notebook LM a slide deck presentation. You've effectively hijacked Notebook LM's capability of making slide decks and presentations.
So basically, everything I wrote, including that Prince,
amazing.
The Prince song. So here's the Prince song, right? The Price song. So I gave it all of that, every single note, and then I come over here and so I direct it. So now here's a couple of cool things that I found out that if you guys want to try this, it's really cool. So it basically kept putting a text down there, even though it said not to do it. There's ways around that. So basically, duality of stage, the spectacle versus survival. So it goes into this whole thing. So this is a great close-up. So then what's cool about the new Notebook LM, because it's basically taking the story and telling the story about the deep story. Now, this was not very productive, but to show you what where I find one that is productive, let me see if this is it. Here we go. So I said, basically show off, use the style. So here was all the 7 deadly sins. This is where he's with the serpent woman who's telling him the truth. Every man 20 years traded of time equals a counterfeit receipt. Basically, you get a gold watch, but it's made of tin that flakes off. It never was anything of value. So like here, for example, there's Lola, there's the clown, and I got a horse in there. Okay. So I take that still image. So I just go into PowerPoint because I'm downloading a PowerPoint. Then I load that up into Grok. And then I say, from this moment forward, make this an image and do the following. So there's him making there he is playing with the dog. So these are all the things. And then what you can do recently, so you can see each one of these is spectacular. And there's the confrontation. So his 10-year-old child basically sings the scary clown song. But look at the acting. This looks like a famous actor. I forget his name. So basically he's realized he basically sold his 40th anniversary. He gets a gold watch. And he realizes he's wasted his entire life. And his granddaughter appears in the crowd and sings this incredible song that eviscerates and kills him. It says, "You're a worthless piece of shit," basically. I'm going to tell my mommy she's going to put you 6 feet under, blah, blah, blah. So it's
a kid's story.
It's a kid's story. So he pulls off of his paint. This is Death of the Salesman. This is all those things put together. And there he is. So this is a beautiful image. So it just creates these beautiful images. So the mother takes the granddaughter off, and then he decides that. So he basically got the tin watch, and he said to the head, Mr. Aurelius, "Hey, I want to do one more performance." And so he does his final performance. The 10-year-old kid shows up, points at him and says, "You're a scary clown, and you've wasted your entire life." He realizes he comes to comeuppance, and then the next scene would be him having breakfast with his kid and making pancakes, and realize that's the most important thing of all. Okay, so I mean, there's hundreds of these, right? So I just kept doing it, each time getting slightly something else. Now here's the other part about this. So there's your Serpentina. She doesn't love you, Joseph. I never lie. I just chose which truth to unsheath. The emptiness can't catch you if you keep filling. And then so each one of the people is saying something. The lust is about, something out of your reach. So what's cool about it is I end up, just as a photojournalist, I think of what's the nexus point? What's the decisive moment? Then he realizes that there was never a lock on the cage. So here he is confronted by his daughter, and then she sings this song. I'll show you in a minute. "I'm going to tell my mother she'll put you in the ground, might kill a clown or two just to turn that smile around." It's the death of the American empire when people realize that they've been wasting their time and their money for a badge and a tin watch that's a receipt for a life that wasn't ever lived, and that time and love are your only things. And basically that's what it is that greed and to kill the ringmaster, and the circus keeps running, loyalty, pride. So the corporation, and what do you got? A gold watch. So these are little happy accidents, I call them. Of course, they're extremely directed by me. Now, the other part about this, and let me take a look at this. Let me see if this explains things. So this is the new media player that they have, which is Cinema Video.
It is incredibly easy to mistake the roar of a crowd for affection, especially when you are standing in a spotlight. But applause is a transaction. Love is a gift. When a person confuses the two, they will trade their entire life just to keep the clapping going. Look at the sheer scale of the Aurelius Brothers' Grand American Circus in the 1920s. To the thousands of people pouring into this canvas cathedral, the star attraction was Copa Joe, a talented man desperate for the warmth of an audience. He fed himself to this massive, hungry machine night after night. The man running that machine understood a brutal economic reality. Money is simply stored time. The ringmaster bought Joe's youth wholesale, locking him into a 20-year contract for room and board. He then sold Joe's hours back to the public at retail prices. The house owned the show, and they owned the men performing it. Joe signed away his youth for a daily dose of temporary attention. By the time he realized the contract was a fraud, the house had already spent his best years. The performer assumed he was winning the crowd, while the ringmaster quietly drained his time. Lola, the tightrope walker, floated 40 feet above the sawdust, pristine and entirely out of reach.
I love it's Maryland.
For Joe, she became the living embodiment of the American dream. She represented the beautiful frontier, the perfect life we are told to look up to but can never actually touch. She did not choose the devoted clown. She chose Magnus the Magnificent. He was 22-inch biceps and a jaw like a ship's prow. He literally built a tent of mirrors so he could multiply his own reflection, projecting an image of physical power that
We got
masked a
Arnold there,
shallow
too.
interior. When Lola and Magnus married, Joe
Look at
put on his
this.
oversized shoes and juggled for the guests. He made 200 people laugh while he wept quietly behind the main tent. The only creature who witnessed his grief was Queenie, the circus elephant, an animal carrying the long memory of every empire that ever mistook spectacle for civilization. Joe spent decades pining for an altitude he could not survive. Staring up at an impossible ideal distracts a person from the ground beneath their feet. Fixating on what we are told we should want blinds us to the quiet devastation happening in our actual lived reality. This painted face is the perfect disguise. For a performer, fame acts as an anesthetic, right up until the moment your tolerance builds. Each night, the high requires a louder crowd. Each morning, the crash leaves you staring at a mask in the mirror, disconnected from the human being underneath. When the applause was not enough, Joe found other ways to numb the quiet. He sought with the sideshow acts, watching men try to out-eat their own emptiness. It is the drive-through mindset taken to its logical conclusion, the belief that if you consume enough food, whiskey, and distractions, the void will not be able to catch you.
Gluttony.
He visited the snake charmer, who used her honesty as a weapon. She told Joe exactly how desperate he looked. Accuracy, when deployed purely to hurt, creates a quick spike of engagement and outrage. He shared pre-dawn coffees with the aging acrobat, who could no longer climb the ladder. This is the complete surrender to routine, the moment a person stops trying to build a way out and maintains the machinery of their captivity. Joe even married a woman who loved him deeply, but he kept looking past her, envying heights he still could not reach. Eventually, he chose the familiar comfort of addiction over the terrifying vulnerability of being a present father. Alcohol, overconsumption, outrage, apathy. These are just specialized rooms inside the same circus tent. You can change the act, but you are still performing under the same canvas. You can expand the floor plan and decorate the cell however you like, but the outer boundary remains solid. After 40 years of service, the circus gave Joe his reward, a watch. It was base metal painted to look expensive, a counterfeit receipt for 14,000 days of traded life. That night, Joe walked into the dark animal tent. He stood outside Caesar the lion's enclosure. Two aging performers, stripped of their daytime majesty, alone with the smell of sawdust and the realization that the crowd was finally gone. Joe reached through the bars, offering to undo the latch and let the lion run free. But as his hand pressed the gate, the metal gave way instantly. There was no lock. The heavy iron door swung outward into the dark. Joe had spent 15 years inside a cage that he could have opened at any moment. He stayed because the performance's rhythm had become more convincing than the reality of the latch. The barrier keeping him inside was unsecured. The most effective prisons do not require iron bars. They only require us to believe that performing the act is safer than risking the unknown. We stay inside because stepping out demands a courage we forgot we had. Joe knew the door was open. He knew the watch was tin, but the addiction called him back. He painted the thick red smile on one last time and stepped into the center ring, unable to resist the pull of the spotlight. Sitting in the front row was a 7-year-old girl, his granddaughter, whom he had never met. Children that age do not understand the social contract of a performance. They do not applaud because they are supposed to. They simply observe what is actually happening. She looked at the man sweating under the hot lights, trembling, hiding his pain behind a rubber nose. She did not laugh. She screamed in terror. And then she sang a blunt, merciless song about the sad, lost soul cracking beneath the makeup. The silence in the tent was absolute. Joe knelt in the sawdust, reached up to his face, and slowly peeled the thick grease paint away. Copa Joe, the counterfeit king of the circus, died right there on the floor, and Joseph Cipriani finally exhaled. Decades of momentum stopped in a single heartbeat. The noise of the lie finally failed when a 7-year-old pointed out that the man under the paint was suffocating. The next morning, Joe stood in a kitchen in Baltimore. He burned the pancakes and made a silly face, earning a single, genuine laugh from a child who finally saw his real skin. One real laugh from one real person. We are no longer sitting in the Aurelius Brothers Grand American Circus, but the tent is still here. It has been miniaturized and slipped into our pockets. The glowing screen, the infinite feed, the algorithmic loops illustrate the new infrastructure built around us. Platforms act as digital ringmasters, quietly extracting our hours, our outrage, and our attention to sell. They are farming our lives. The door to this cage does not have a lock either. You do not have to perform for the algorithm. You don't have to trade your peace for an audience of strangers. Stepping out requires the decision to put the device down and stand up. Because when the tent finally comes down and the screens go dark, only two things have any actual value: the finite time we were given and the unconditional love we chose to share while we had it.
Wow. I mean, that's it. And what I'm going to do next is take you over to what I think is another kind of cool unlock that I got out of this, and that was,
Well,
so where I started to show you what's on the desktop there to give you full circle. So each one of these is basically a script, and I've had Claude desktop organize these folders. So it put everything into order. All the numbered lists, that's completely, I just said, take this folder, make sense out of it, and then give me directions. And it created 5 documents. And for some reason, it's not lit.
Yeah. Hang on. Before we get back into the technical weeds, I just want to pull back and pause because I don't.
Yeah.
You've been sitting with this for the better part of a week. Well, I mean, with this creation.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're seeing it with fresh eyes. And I can't speak for everybody that's watching this back, but for anybody who says, AI is, a copy paste engine or there's no real art in it, I challenge anybody to watch this, see your photojournalism skills bleed through, see your life bleed through.
Thank you.
And your personality bleed through, and say and come away with anything else but authentic creativity. I mean, aside from Marilyn Monroe and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, that was
well, and that's part of it, right? Because the editing room floor, you're getting to see everything before it was edited. And to give you the overall view, basically, I have acted as if I'm Steven Spielberg. And every time I ask Claude for the simple thing, help me take all this and make sense of it. Because at one point, it named it Copa Joe. Because I talked about 2 things. I said, I remember growing up in 1959. And I remember, the Greatest Generation, my father, basically, and my uncle. I remember that so distinctly. Yeah, it's definitely... And there's a couple of things from photojournalism. So the idea of the decisive moment, Henri Cartier-Bresson is famous for saying this. There is a moment in which the head, the heart, and the eyes align. It is the moment, the peak in a football game. It's the winning touchdown, the hand just tipping over the end zone and winning the game. In life, it's the moment where you realize that, you spent a lifetime chasing the wrong dreams, and that America is collapsing on this scroll feed of and you just stand up because you are who I am, which is someone who loves humanity so much I just can't stand to see it violated. And that's what it is.
I think Valerie here on YouTube, it's the visual of what is in your heart and mind. And,
that's it.
And to me, that is the great power of AI, is that it enables people who have these stories and these characters inside their head. In one of the earliest AI Salon meetings, Kelly Besh, who's an amazing visual effects artist.
Yes.
I've
got to get to know her better because she's just astounding.
I had asked her what was her inspiration for her creativity and her pieces. She says, Brennan, these images have been locked inside my head for 30 years.
That's it.
Now I finally have the canvas to paint on, and the technology has caught up to it.
That's exactly it. I mean, for me, it was photojournalism was black and white film photography that cost me an arm and a leg. When I was, even a Macintosh Plus, I was taking paper route money and stuff like this, $2,300 for Macintosh Plus. Okay. For a kid that made that in a year, but I bought it. And I still, to this day, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? But we were finally at the point where what I have locked in my head is abracadabra. That's the reason why I created the film Abracadabra, which you'll see a little bit of maybe on next episode, because I think maybe it's worthwhile spending the time with this deeply thinking about this. I remember, so I was talking about the Copacabana and Rick and Lucy, and because that was the beginning of my life, as I watched them on TV when it was just 3 channels, and I watched that, and then I took George Carlin, who I loved, and I understood his critique, and then I went deeper diving, because every night at 11 o'clock precisely, I sit down with Claude, and I just talk. And I have created, literally, I'm not talking, not even joking, 24 page manifestos about, do we have free will? What is this thing why am I spending my time giving a fuck about anybody else's world? What is the dangerous man? And how do I understand that? So I load in now to Notebook LM all the information about free will and who's ever argued it. And then I have a debate with Claude at night about what that is. The self-domesticated ape was, I think, a pretty amazing thing. So it's privileging the prepared mind, which is my photojournalism skills allow me to pick a still image and then take a story and extrapolate it over time by saying what it's going to do next. Even the picture. So I had a notebook about Jesus, because I was thinking about Jesus. So I have all these random thoughts. That's why I have so many things going on. And I literally can make it happen. Even the fact, and probably the most important thing for me that Claude did, is organize that freaking folder you just saw. Because take a look at this. It's pretty insane. So then you've got Rosie and her situation. You've got the wedding slideshow. So these are the still pictures of the dog. So some of these were actually taken right from Notebook LM, and then I took some of them and improved upon them. So here's you can see these pictures then had to be expanded. So the emptiness can't catch you if you keep filling. I mean, what a start. And then that became the video that you saw a minute ago, right? And it goes between these characters. So I'll start with this and I'll keep prompting until I get it. So one of the cool things about Notebook LM, you see there's text on the left here. You can go into Notebook LM and take all 15 slides and you can revise them. So let me show you that real quick in just a second. And then I go down and I create a video from this.
Oh, the love I can't have. A giraffe for the happy couple. Why can't it be me? Me, I can't.
And in 2 minutes, And listen to this music. It did. It's supposed to be a calliope at a circus. That's what I asked for. And I loaded 4 images, and it's just transitioning between each. And then watch this.
A round of applause for a magnificent applause.
So is every frame perfect? No, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to actually go in there and actually, so here's just an idea. Here's I love this little dog. It just kind of randomly came up, but you can see that these are just magnificent black and white photographs. And I've been prompting using, in the style of Fritz Lang meets, Joel Peter Witkin, all kinds of things like this. So these are from the still images from the video, because I love the video. And then this one's cool. And look at this. I mean, holy shit. The tricky part has been keeping the consistent characters, more or less. I imagine George Clooney. Yeah. Can you imagine George Clooney being this? Oh, this would be spectacular, right? I could see the whole movie. So I just keep, imagining in my heart, so you can see the parts, and then there's a sideshow, which is really, there he goes home with his granddaughter. So he leaves. So that's basically in Grok, and watch this acting.
There was no lock on the cage, but yet here I sit.
It's probably the influence of his role as Joker, but I'm seeing Heath Ledger. I'm seeing a lot of Heath Ledger in this.
Yeah. Well, I think of George Clooney because he's kind of the everyman that I imagine this man is. He's nobody special. Watch this sequence. This is just 4 slides with me saying what to do. Wait for this.
Stare if you dare. Am I not magnificent?
And then I have another scene where one of the guys tries to kiss her and he slaps her. I mean, it's just like, so, and she has a part in this too. So then we've got the Cowardly Lion. So here's the stills image is, so basically he gets his tin watch. He's feeling completely disenfranchised. And I'm about to show you one that just is the most magnificent piece of film I've ever seen in my life, if I do say myself. But basically, here's the still images. Look at this dead, mask, and he's dealing with himself. And there's the lock, and you're going to kind of see this put together here. So I basically took both the video, still images, put them together. There's the lock, and it says the show Slow Death of Wonder in the Age of Screens. That's the lock on the cage that he imagined that wasn't really there. Copa Joe, look at this. I mean, it's just beautiful, right? So then you start to take these little pieces, and there's the money, there's the face, and then you see this, and then wait for this one. Okay, here we go. This one's pretty cool. David Lynch is what I asked for. And listen to the sound of the dog, and then the close-up and the fade. And then this. I mean, I want to see this.
The video renders are from Grok. There's a question.
Yeah. Now here he is, got drunk with the, and then watch his body exhaustion, right? So I need a really great editor. I've got, if anybody knows one out there that's really like Academy Award winning editor, it's going to be some upscaling and some music. So, and then here's the full sequence. I think this is the big one where it goes between the watch ticking time, the sideshow freak.
Stare if you dare. Am I not magnificent?
And then a zoom out to infinity. And I even got one. And I'm going to play the music in a minute, but each one of them, so, and here is the child confronting the demons, and the song you're going to hear in a minute. This is, I think, one of the most extraordinary images. And then he takes the paint off. So this is the website that it created in Manus, because I asked it to. And each one It basically is a slideshow. I can show you that as well. But like all of this has been, and then I had the text taken off of these. Some of it was a lot of work. Some of it was just managed to take the text off, kind of things. You can see these images.
So my future vintage is saying Norman is a good editor. I don't know if you know Norman.
Yes, I do know Norman. Is he with us on the call?
And we are getting some intermittent static from your audio shares.
Oh, okay.
So before we go into that song, you might need to stop sharing and reshare. Or,
okay. Yeah, watch this little piece here. It's even got the music too. Look at that. I'm going to break to a slightly different end image.
I keep waiting for Rod Sterling to walk out.
Right, and I was channeling him too. So what's interesting? So this is what the website looked like: the nightmare carousel, the tent twisted in a house of horrors, the calliope grinding in a sinister dying waltz. The clown realized his art had become a nightmare, his vocation corrupted into a brand of fear. The crack under the hot lights. I mean, it's an exquisite writer. I mean, it's really just really good. He slowly, deliberately, he reached up and pulled away the red rubber nose. He wiped the white lies from his skin, revealing the man who had been buried alive for 40 years. So I changed it to 40 years since, and then here's each of the sort of pictures. Now watch this. Oops. Oh, that's the still image. I mean, just like think about the transitions, and I just loaded up multiple pictures. So there he is. Watch him kind of like skip step here. So this is the nightmare scenario. And then this thing just appeared out of nowhere. I have no idea how that got in there, but I just kept going. And originally I was going to just take it and do it like this on the website. I mean,
we repeat the phrase, "the show must go on," as if it were a heroic creed, a noble commitment to the craft. In reality, it is a survival mandate that ignores the decay of the body and the exhaustion of the soul. The spotlight stays on because the alternative, facing the absolute silence of the empty tent, is far more terrifying than the performance itself. The audience, like an indifferent spectator, remains seated long after the magic has faded, demanding a continuation of the act. The big top is a breathing entity. Canvas walls ripple in the wind like the lungs of a sleeping giant, inhaling fields and swallowing towns. Inside, performers are caught in a cycle of endless repetition, trapped by guy wires and center poles, maintaining the illusion of flight while bound strictly to the demands of the script. The elephants are the oldest souls here, standing as the circus's conscience. They see the hidden human tragedies that fund the spectacle, the flaking makeup, the trembling smiles, the quiet weeping after the crowds disperse. They remember every performer who ever fed them, and every night the sawdust turned to mud. This circus serves as a window into a shared reality. Life operates as an unchosen stage, a script that continues rolling long after the meaning has dissolved from the lines. We step into the light because existence itself demands continuation, turning our survival into a performance for anyone left watching. At the top of this hierarchy sits Mr. Aurelius Gold. He operates from the mahogany-paneled isolation of his private railcar, entirely removed from the physical labor of the sawdust ring. He is the architect of the spectacle, a man who has learned to calculate the dollar value of every human emotion. This diagram shows a worker's timeline being dismantled and converted into a continuous flow of capital. Gold's system purchases human youth and energy at wholesale prices, packaging that time into moments of temporary wonder to sell at a retail premium. Copajo, the headline clown, signed away his youth for the security of a steady meal. The timeline locks into a rigid, closed loop. He traded his might-have-beens for a painted face, discovering too late that he signed a contract for 20 years of his life in exchange for a counterfeit receipt. In the ring, small dogs in tutus jump through hoops and ride tiny bicycles, obeying commands in a language they will never understand. They work for scraps of affection. Joe's existence mirrors theirs. He is an employee trained to associate blind obedience with love, loyal to a master who views that loyalty as a way to lower the cost of labor. This is the central tension of Joe's life, a soul being systematically consumed by an economy that has turned his very survival into a commercial product. Joe's life is a journey through a house with many rooms. Each space is occupied by a fellow performer who has adopted a specific psychological defense mechanism, a way to shield themselves from the vulnerability of being truly seen. High above the sawdust, Lola DeVario exists entirely in the vertical. She is defined by an agonizing gravitational pull toward the beautiful and the unreachable. She keeps the world at a distance of 40 feet, existing in a realm where the ground is merely theoretical, and the audience is a blur of upturned faces. Her dressing room contains no photographs of people, only images of cities seen from above, like New York from the Woolworth Building. She lives at an emotional altitude where regular human connection is impossible, safe from ordinary life. Down in the mirror tent, Magnus the Magnificent bends thick steel while surrounded by floor-length reflections. He spends hours each morning in this temple of self-regard, confirming his own surface. He does not need mirrors for vanity. He needs them as an altar where he can worship the only company he truly craves. His posturing is as calculated as the circus lions. The genuine, dangerous power is kept locked in cages for the audience's benefit, while the man with the whip takes the credit, presenting a polished surface to hide the emptiness behind his eyes. Lola's upward escape and Magnus's inward obsession serve the same function. They are both armor plates designed to avoid the terror of authentic human contact. We move away from the glamour of the big top and enter the claustrophobic sideshow tent. This is the confessional, the place where the audience pays 25 cents to stare directly at human extremes without the comfort of illusion. Big Benny Kowalski holds court on a reinforced platform. He frantically consumes whiskey and loud conversations and the energy of visitors, filling his space with noise. He lives in a state of constant intake, hoping that volume will substitute for satisfaction and that the emptiness won't catch him. This frantic attempt to outrun solitude has resulted in total physical stasis. Benny has not been able to see his own feet since the administration of Calvin Coolidge.
I love that line.
He has traded his mobility for a mountain of excess. Across the midway, the air turns unnaturally hot inside the glass-lined tent of Serpentina. She never raises her voice. Instead, she utilizes a slow, surgical weaponization of the truth, selecting facts specifically to cut into the people around her. She mirrors the pythons draped across her shoulders. She positions herself quietly in the path of her prey and waits. She deploys her truths incrementally, constricting the hope out of Joe so slowly that he doesn't realize he is being consumed until his spirit has already gone cold. These strategies are twin responses to the same terror of a reality that is entirely indifferent to their existence. Whether through frantic consumption or calculated cruelty, they are both attempting to assert control over a world that refuses to acknowledge them. Next is Rosie Klein on her miniature stage. She lives in a state of fierce, defiant longing, navigating a world engineered for proportions she does not possess. She has spent her life looking up, demanding to be seen in a room built for someone else. She demonstrates the most profound bravery in the entire story. Knowing that Joe is in love with someone else, she chooses to marry him anyway. She consciously takes on the burden of an imperfect, unreciprocated love because she believes that being close to someone who knows how to love is better than total isolation. As the decades pass, the colors fade into the gray, liminal space of the pre-dawn lot. Here, sitting on an overturned bucket, we find Victor, the aging acrobat. Victor is defined by the complete evaporation of hope. This is a total cessation of trying to matter. His body is a museum of former capabilities, and he now moves as if sudden motion might shatter whatever fragile agreement he has made with gravity. He sits beside the cook's tent, watching the trained circus horses run in circles. They strike the sawdust in perfectly choreographed patterns, running fast and looking magnificent while going absolutely nowhere. Sitting in the cold morning air, Joe realizes he is becoming Victor. He has outlived his own ambition, and he is beginning to understand that the heaviest part of the performance is continuing to exist after the applause has died. In 1971, the spectacle finally dies. The trains are sold and the padlocks are engaged. The massive crowds are replaced by the absolute silence of an abandoned, muddy field, scarred by deep holes left behind by forgotten tent pegs. Joe's universe shrinks to a single room in a Trenton boarding house, a hot plate, a bare bulb, and a ticking watch. His physical space has contracted to match the exact dimensions of his remaining possibilities. Then his estranged son, Jimmy, arrives. Jimmy is a man entirely disconnected from the circus, with hands stained by machine oil and hardware store work. He brings the news of Rosie's death, along with a quiet, practical presence that Joe never learned to provide. Jimmy does not offer a grand reconciliation. He simply tells his father that his granddaughter knows his name and that the laughter Joe created was real. It is a moment of genuine grace, produced by a life built on counterfeit performances. We have watched the performers decay while remaining seated in the bleachers, the same indifferent spectators who demanded the show go on. We are the final characters in this system, the ones whose gaze keeps the cycle in motion. The parallel between the sideshow and our own lives is direct. We relentlessly perform our curated identities on digital stages we do not own, striking poses for an audience that is just as indifferent to us as we were to Copa Joe. We continue to insist that the show must go on, repeating the mantra as we scroll past the clowns of our own era. But we have forgotten to ask ourselves why it cannot stop, and who we are when the paint finally comes off.
So that was a different version than I had done before. But and then the final thing I'm just going to share today is pancakes. So then came a new song, not of terror, but of blood and belonging. A little girl calling out her grandfather. Her voice was the yellow brick road, leading him away from the sawdust and toward the only applause that ever mattered. He left the counterfeit watch and the painted tears behind. Walking into the sunrise, the show was finally over, and in the quiet, blinding light, he remembered what love looked like.
I walked a yellow road for 40 years or more, through 7 rooms of sin, behind a painted door. I talked to caged up lions We're behind the tent. Sold my soul for sawdust. Every hour spent. I loved a woman walking 40 feet above, while a woman standing next to me was drowning me in love. I signed my name in grease paint on a devil's deal, and wore a face so long I forgot which one was real. But the cage was never locked, the heart was never gone. The show is finally over, and the morning's coming on. A little girl screamed at me underneath the light. She killed the painted clown, and she was right. Behind the nose and makeup was a man who'd been asleep. She woke me with a song so true, so sharp, so deep. The cage was never locked, the heart was never gone. I had the brain, the nerve, the love, I just forgot to carry on. The watch was counterfeit, the time was real. The laughter wasn't fake, the love was always here. I was Dorothy, I was a lion, I was the Tin Man too. I just needed a child's scream to find the road back home to you. No more masks, no more lies, no more clowns in disguise. Just a man who wants to live and see the morning sunrise. The paint is gone, the shoes are off, the circus left the town, but I'm still here, I'm finally here, no longer the counterfeit clown. Roll up, roll up, the sunrise is here.
Whew, shit. Yeah, that's where it is. So there's a lot more, but what I would like to do at the end here, I think there's one more I'd love to show you, and I'm not quite sure I can find it. But yeah, here's
How do I get the hell out of here? A storm! I mean, it's coming to be bad! You better run for it before it's too late! It's always been too late here. It's late. There was no lock on this cage.
So there's a happy ending. Are you still audio okay?
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
And this is when he had the baby. Some of these scenes are really quite extraordinary. And there's narration too that
Wow, the circus! Let's go! Look at the lights, it's magical! The whole circus is here! Best show ever!
And so
and here's the my favorite one. I think this is it. Let me see. There's 3 parts to this.
I've had the best seat in the house to the greatest show on earth, America. I told you the truth. What a freak show, huh?
And that's George Carlin making an appearance at the end.
The cage was never locked. The greatest show on earth is over.
And then it goes into outer space as well. So let me see if I've got the full clip here. So listen to the sound. So, here we go. Yeah, and so you can see that I had quite a bit of fun with this one. So I got it so the gold watch is the only gold thing within the scene. And then I did this one just for fun. And you can see all the characters.
Look at you, my little South Star. Daddy's here. That's my beagle bug, Coochie Goose. She's the greatest love of my life.
I don't know why it said at. Oh, this is beautiful. I like this one a lot. This is the tightrope walker who lost his ability to do his job. Okay, so I guess should I stop sharing and then I think we're about at time.
Yeah, it's about that time. I'll tell you what, Rick. I want to see this entire
right
storyline.
Yeah,
from the point of view of the elephant, like that. To me, having the elephant be the narrator of all this.
Let's do this because this is exactly that. So what I did is it has a narration that it created. It is meant to be sort of a Twilight Zone sort of thing.
What the greatest show on earth was, and what it became. Before the clown, before the cage, before the tin watch and the cracking paint, and the child's scream that brought it all down. There was an elephant, and the elephant remembered everything. The elephant remembered Rome, she remembered the Colosseum, the roar of crowds drunk on spectacle, the bread and the circuses, the empire so vast and so certain of itself that it could not conceive of its own ending. She remembered how the games grew more elaborate as the foundations cracked, how the spectacles grew louder as the truth grew quieter. How the citizens cheered harder as the roads crumbled beneath their feet. She remembered the exact moment the last emperor removed his crown. And how the crowd was still cheering, because they had forgotten what the crown meant. Because the show had become the meaning, and meaning had become the show. Lola on the wire.
This is Suno.
She walks in beauty, like the night. Lord Byron. The first time Copa Joe saw Lola Devereaux, she was 40 feet above the ground, and he understood immediately that he would never reach her. She was 20 years old, French Creole by way of New Orleans, with skin the color of cafe au lait and a body that moved through space the way a cello moves through a minor key. Slowly, with devastating precision, making the air itself ache with longing. Her tightrope act was not an athletic performance. It was a philosophical argument. Every step she took above the abyss said the same thing. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. And the audience, who were very much afraid, loved her for the lie. Her curves were more bodacious than a hump on a camel's back. The old circus hands would say, and her legend of loveliness was far and wide and celebrated in every town. The circus played. Men brought flowers, men brought poems. Men brought diamond rings purchased on installment plans from Sears Roebuck catalogs. Lola accepted the flowers, burned the poems, and returned the rings. She was not cruel. She was simply operating at an altitude where ground-level devotion could not reach her. Joe fell in love with her the way a man falls off a building, instantly, irreversibly, with the growing certainty that the landing would be catastrophic. He was 17. She was 20. He was a clown in oversized shoes and a red rubber nose. She was a goddess who walked on air. The mathematics of desire were not in his favor. But Copa Joe had one advantage that the flower-bearing, poem-writing, ring-offering suitors did not. He made her laugh. Not the polite laughter of social obligation, but the deep, body-shaking, mascara-ruining laughter of genuine surprise. He could find the absurdity in anything. The elephants, the ringmaster's pomposity, the sad grandiosity of the entire traveling enterprise. And when he found it, Lola's laughter fell from 40 feet like bells from a cathedral. They became friends. Friends, the word sat in Joe's chest like a splinter. He wanted to be her world. She wanted him to be her Wednesday afternoon. He planned declarations of love while she planned her Friday night performance. He rehearsed speeches in front of mirrors. She rehearsed pirouettes on a wire. They existed in the same circus, but in different gravitational fields. And Joe, poor, beautiful, doomed. Joe spent the next 40 years pretending that proximity was the same as possession. Here is the first of the 8 wrong turns. Though Joe would not recognize it as such for decades, he waited. He waited for the perfect moment to tell Lola that he loved her. And while he waited, the perfect moment did what perfect moments always do. It left.
I mean, tell me that's not the most perfectly read, gorgeous. I mean, it does what perfect moments do, always do. It left. I mean, Jesus, that's beautiful. So, to give you an idea of what this is about, this is basically throughout the whole thing, it's sort of a narration. It originally was supposed to be Twilight Zone kind of esque kind of situation, but it ended up being, and I'll come back on the news here for the rest here, and maybe I'll play the other part at another time. Where is StreamYard? Okay, so yeah, so to land the plane, since we are at time, this was not possible 5 months ago. I'd been starting on it probably 3 months ago, just the inkling of the idea, this idea that somehow, and it started with George Carlin's idea that America was the greatest show on earth. And I've been writing about politics and the sort of where we are and the self-domesticated ape. And so each one of the characters, I think, which is really profound, that I've learned how to write. I've already always kind of known a little bit about what metaphor is, and I think in visuals. So now I've got the ability to can create with abracadabra strength an image, and then tell it what I want the image to do over time, knowing human beings and how they feel. And then metaphorically, and this is my super strength, I think, is I'm always making photographs that are metaphors for other things that they aren't. My project's called the Apple Project, and my students photograph for 2 weeks a red, delicious apple in as many ways as they can. The idea is for me to look at the image and forget there's an apple there and it transcends the appleness. that's, I think, one of the superpowers of art, is that art is a verb. It's the action of a human being doing what they're purpose built to be on earth to become. And becoming is the verb of being an artist. So this is my ultimate version of what that looks like. And I hope you like it. And I don't really care if you do.
Transcend the Apple nut.
Yeah, we're way beyond the apple, man. I tell you. And then it goes so much deeper because it's about a child's love as being the only pure thing, and a dog, you know. And namaste to all you beautiful souls out there. And I hope that you have and find what your ikigai in life is, what your purpose for being. I've found mine. And thank you for allowing me to share with you just a moment of thinking and feeling and being. The art of life is to live it so beautifully that you have in your head just applause of well done. And then get some sleep, goddammit, because I haven't slept in days.
I'll tell you what, Rick, you got nothing. Ringling Barnum Brothers got nothing. This AITV Starship, this is the greatest show on earth.
There you go.
Peace and love.
Yes.